Then you're kind of prepared because probably, I think roughly 80 to 85% of teams out there in the software industry today are pretty much running Scrum. Okay, that's it. So if you get that dose of Scrum from your capstone project, then you are well prepared, right? Only like 15% of chance you'll be fall into one of the weird team structure we talked about here. Okay. All right. So let's do a quick review about what we have in our test. Certainly, the best way to prepare for your test would be going over your homework and your projects. Okay. So I did post all the quiz questions here, which is another useful thing to start with. These are 18 problems we worked on. So I don't expect you to work on things like those things are probably unlikely to happen, right? Not that kind of so it's not going to be a problem. You don't know the algorithm. Okay, these are so more likely be like things like the first 10, which you know exactly the algorithm it takes to solve that problem.
Speaking of algorithms, you said that the last quiz there was a trick to it that would make it easy.
Right.
What was that?
Right. So this is so essentially you can use certain kind of computation instead of scanning the array. Which make it slightly easier to solve the problem. So you just use that because it actually have numbers, right? Which lend itself to computation. So there is a solution on this. So you can get directly from the code. There are better solutions than I can describe. So just look at the code there. So for instance, we are not testing those tricks. We are more likely to going to test the things that you already know of. Basically, what we test you is that you have the ability to write pseudocode out to describe an algorithm you already know, or data structure you already know, right? You are able to write pseudocode. Okay, so what we will cover, certainly, so we basic concept of software engineering, right? So you need to know what do you do, right? So as a software engineer, what do you do? We talk about requirement, we talk about analysis, also known as high-level design, detailed design, implementation, testing, maintenance, right? Implementation typically is together with testing. In testing, you definitely need to know what unit testing is about, what technique we use for unit testing, what coverage metrics we use in testing, right? Then, so that's individually. Then if you run into a big complex product, how do you do, right? And what you do is going to be divide and conquer, also known as stepwise refinement. Basically, you keep partition things into smaller and smaller pieces. So altogether, you need to make sure that your requirement go all the way from your beginning to the end and back, right? So that's essentially reflected by your test cases. So you need to be able to trace everything back to the source, which is your original specification, right? Original spec, you'll see, you should be able to do basic use cases. Should be able to flash out your use cases with scenarios, and representing those scenarios with your sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. Being able to design your class diagram so that you know what component you have in your system. So then your implementation as a pseudocode, and your testing approach, how you actually come up with test cases. We talk about boundary analysis, the equivalent class analysis, boundary analysis, use case driven functional testing. So also we talk about white box testing, essentially what metrics you use. The basic metrics we use are line of code, statement coverage, branch coverage, linear code segment coverage, definitely use coverage, which you have all done in your homework. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. So the end goal is, so you should be able to do basic tasks in requirement, which is essentially taking a known, something you know. But now testing you is something, oh, I'm going to give you a specification you have never seen before. Not going to happen. It's going to be a specification you know for sure exactly that what is functionality of that system you're trying to deal with. Then you should be able to identify the usage model features of your system, which you can use. Basically, in our class, we use use cases. You should be able to do use cases. The use cases, you should be able to separate out different scenarios in your use cases, right? Normal situation, abnormal situation, and representing these use cases by your collaboration diagram or sequence diagram. Then once you have that, you should be able to identify what classes you ought to have in your system to deliver these functionalities. Then, if you need a data structure or algorithm, you should be able to articulate those things in pseudocode. Once I give you an algorithm implementation, for instance, the pseudocode you have written, can I ask you to do testing using different approaches, which we have talked about in terms of coverage or the basic way of coming up with test cases. So essentially, your requirement specification, requirement, design, implementation, and testing. These are going to be the courses. You have done this in your homework. You have done this in your project. It's not going to go beyond your homework and project, and also your quiz here. Not going to be more difficult than your first 10 quizzes. They're going to be more difficult. Yeah. So all the things you're going to deal with, you know exactly what they are. Okay. It's not something I need to go on the internet to get it. No, not that kind. This is going to be simple things that you see every day, you use every day, you have done before. Then now you just need to be able to show that you can independently, without computer, without internet, get it done. So this is the basic technical skill you ought to have all of our class. So if you have done our homework, you have done our project, did all the quizzes, I think the test should be fairly straightforward. We have 12 pages, and so we're printing it on single side. So basically on the reverse side, you've got plenty of scratch paper if you like to. So essentially, you just need to come here with your pen, pencil, and eraser. That's all you need. We do have some calculation, which is the whole number calculations. If you think that you need calculator for whole number calculations, if you are doing not whole number calculation, I can tell you did it wrong, right? Then you go back and read the problem and think about it again. So if you need a calculator, do get a real calculator. We are not allowing you to use your phone or your computer calculator to do the job.
What kind of calculations did you say?
Things that you can find in our homework. Not going to go beyond our homework, right? Very basic calculations, just for you to understand, show that you understand the concept. The calculation is really not the most important thing. It's just whole number calculation, which you guys should know how to do in elementary school by hand easily. So now this is not going to cause you difficulty. If you are not doing whole number calculation, you know you get it wrong. Okay, try a different approach. Questions? I mean, the test is not hard. I expect half of you will be done within an hour. The other half will probably stick around for all the way to the end of the test. Is it okay? Actually, To those of you guys who are always handing in your work early, there's no extra credit for handing in your work early. Actually, typically there is a penalty because you made mistakes. You should have be able to catch if you spend a little bit more time on them, right? Handing in your work early does not give you anything, but that's 1 extra hour if you need to. So essentially, the test is not going to be a very stressful test, in all regards. Just come with your pen, pencil, and eraser, your calculator if you want one. That's all you need. You don't need scratch papers. The back of your test packet is your scratch paper, right? So do mark which part is your scratch, which part is your real answer, so that we can grade correctly. Other than that, I don't have anything more. Start with your homework. And also, we are probably not going to have things that you feel really time consuming in the homework, okay? Because we just don't have time, right? If I ask you to draw lots of diagrams, then that's not going to happen, right? So, no. So it's not going to be a very time consuming part of your homework, going to be more conceptual problems that you should understand. Actually, the test, is fairly easy. So this only for you to demonstrate the basics of software engineering, your basic requirement, basic design, basic implementation, basic testing, and basic understanding of management of a process. Very basic things. Just go for the basic things. No fancy things like the 18th problem. That's just for you to think about it. If you so if you can solve the 18th problem easy, you're in a good place. This is not by no means. If you haven't seen this, doesn't come to you easy. If you haven't seen this, but once you've seen it, this represents a bunch of questions, variations you will see later on, right? So when you go to a real interview, you may see another problem, new array numbers and so forth. You may say, this is reducible to that problem. Then you actually, that's how you actually prepare. They always, unlikely you're going to see exactly the same problem, but you're going to see variation of those problems. Questions? Okay, this is it. So I'll see you 12 o'clock Thursday. And in the meanwhile, if you haven't signed up for demo time, do so as soon as you can, so that you can get your get the grade for the last project assignment.
You said that there would be only a whole number arithmetic on the final. Does that mean that there's a problem that would normally use like when working with?
Yeah, if you go into the realm of irrational number, that's not.
Well, it's not like a couple of problems on the homework that required us to use ratios between how much something would cost in various stages of the development.
That may happen.
But those fractions aren't very convenient to work with unless you have a calculator.
You could have a calculator, just not your phone.
Okay.
You could have a calculator. So you should be able to solve by hand easily. Certainly.
No, you definitely can't solve those easily by hand because the number you have to divide by is inconvenient.
Okay.
Like, could you divide something by 17 by hand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, so it's okay to bring a calculator, but don't use your phone, iPad, or your laptop for calculator. Then it will be unfair to others. So we just want to be uniform to everybody, right? So that the rules had, you can use just a regular calculator. No problem. Yeah. All right. In the meanwhile, if you have questions, send me an email. I think the test prep should be pretty straightforward. Start with your homework and project. Only when you have questions about these things, go back to your slides. If you still have questions, maybe it's worthwhile to go to the textbook. Other than that, I don't believe you need to go back to the homework and go back to the textbook and do it the whole